Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're based. I think we'll give everybody maybe 30 seconds longer to get into the session and then we can kick things off. Wow, Florida. Hey, Greg. See if we can get some more comments going in the chat. Denver, Colorado. Nice. Haven't been out there in a while. I think we should kick these off, guys. I'm gonna start things. So really appreciate everyone joining and welcome to today's webinar. This is Abacum for Excel. My name's James. I'm an account exec here at Abacum, and I'm here today with our product whiz Nerve. I'll pass over to him very shortly. So we're excited to walk you through how the new Abacum Excel connector can supercharge your FP&A processes, granting the flexibility to plan your own way. So, in the next 15 to 20 minutes, we'll cover a practical example using a bottoms up approach for OPEX budgeting. But what I would say is keep in mind that this is a very narrow use case. The workflow is very versatile for any kind of model, whether that's headcount planning, revenue forecasting, scenario analysis, you name it. So today, don't want to speak out of turn, but what Nerve is going to demo is how to download, update, and sync data between Abacum and Excel effortlessly. And we'll show off some key benefits like automated data syncing and what we're calling or labeling a hybrid workflow that combines Excel's familiarity with Abacum's powerful features. We're going to save roughly 10 minutes at the back end for questions, so feel free to drop them in the chat at any time as we go through the session today. All right, let's start. I will share my screen first, and then I'm going to pass over to you, Nerve, after a single slide. If that works. So I think where we'll start today is understanding or giving an understanding as to why we built this connector in the first place. Um, it's clear that finance teams and other stakeholders in businesses of all shapes and sizes rely quite heavily on Microsoft Excel for reporting, modeling, budgeting, you name it. It's flexible, familiar, and pretty powerful. But as businesses grow, as they scale, so do the challenges in operating through Excel. So these Excel-based processes become bottlenecks. Finance can be seen as a bottleneck because of the delays and kind of silo effect that comes off the back of this. You have your version control issues, limitations on filtering and permissions. And I think coming back to what is probably most critical, this siloing of the entire function makes decision making pretty tough, and really blocks that alignment between finance and the wider business. So this is where the Abacum Excel connector comes in. We're again focusing in on a real specific use case, but I would say, you know, tools like Abacum, FP&A, they are designed to be a nexus for key stakeholders. Abacum is extremely collaborative, but what we have unlocked and allowed for our customers is the ability to seamlessly sync data between Excel and Abacum, eliminating the need for any kind of manual work there. And I think enabling a progressive adoption path. So again, you can drive that value from Abacum's advanced FP&A capabilities, automation, efficiencies, that can be many things, but at the same time, keep Excel for um, as well some of the use cases that we're about to talk through today, and the typical use cases that you would still continue to use Excel for, as we're not intending to completely replace it. So again, the best of both worlds is what we're talking about here. Excel familiarity, Abacum's powerful features. I am finished with my slide, so let's see what it looks like in action. I'll pass over to you, Nav.
Amazing. Thanks, James. I'm just going to share my screen here, team. Let me know when everyone can see it. Perfect. Can everyone see my screen? James, all good? Lovely.
Yes.
Perfect. Also, James, if I start to buffer out, let me know. My internet's not the greatest right now. Uh, Amazing. So, team, basically, what we'll do today is we'll look at some of the models that's in Abacum, right? And see how that'll interact with the Excel side of things. So, just to give you a quick idea of what I'm going to walk you through. So, this is like a marketing funnel that is within Abacum. As you can see here, I can see my advertising expenses, cost per MQL, so on and so forth. And this is basically the pipeline projection that is driven off all of these different variables, right? So, if we look at what these variables do and how this inbound pipeline projection is driven, we can go to one of the Abacum models. So I'm just going to go in there and you can see I've opened up the Abacum model over here. So this is my revenue component, right, which we'll be pulling into Excel. And this is like the advertising component or the advertising spend component that we'll be updating from Excel, right? So just to give you a quick summary on like what the different icons here are within the Abacum model, anything with a little blue highlight basically indicates that's an input that can be updated. So if we were to update this input within Abacum, it's really simple. You can either do it at the modeling section as a modeler, which most end users would not be doing. So the end users could go into the actual space within the Abacum spaces, and they can go in here and say, okay, they want to go update this, double click, and they can update them as they need to, right? So it's quite lovely and quite self-contained without needing to look at formulas and things like that. But yeah, like Jim said, some folks love Excel and like it's a great tool. It's honestly a very flexible tool and we don't force you to leave Excel altogether. So for folks that do like Excel, they can open up the Excel model over here. Let me just quickly pull up my Excel. Lovely. Can you all see my Excel, James? Yep, perfect.
Yes.
Very good. So couple of tabs within here. So pretty rudimentary marketing model over here, right? My actuals, my forecast for Jan. Then over here within a sheet, I basically have just a blank screen. Essentially, what I want to do is query what's within my Abacum model into this Excel sheet, right? So first thing you want to do is basically go at the Abacum add-in in here, right? So I'm going to go in there. You can see there's an Abacum connector. Just click on that, and you essentially have this connected to your system. So normally, the first thing you would do when you set up the add-in is you just log into your Excel add-in with the same credentials that you would log into Abacum with. That's pretty much all you need to do for the setup. You don't need to include ID to set this add-in up at all because it's like the new web add-in. So just literally go to the add-in section here, search for Abacum and install, right? Very good. So post that, you can see I've connected to a sheet. So there's a pull function and there's a push function, right? So basically to connect to a sheet is really simple. You would click on this little plus button, right? And you can see like different components you can select from the models that you have within Abacum that you can pull, right? You can select the different versions as well that you want to pull. Then also you can essentially find the scenarios, the row types, and also the sheets and things like that where you want to pull to. So this would be like the destination within Excel you would pull to. I'll also show you the push components in a bit as well, right? Perfect. So we have this set up already. So I'm just going to go in there and say, oh, you can also go and see like the different configurations for this. If I click on this, you can see I'm pulling in my marketing funnel model, right? So if I go back into my Abacum component, you can see this is the model, right? And I'm pulling in the version forecast. Come back in here just to verify versions forecast, right? And I'm pulling in default scenario, right? And the rotates full version. Lovely. And I'm pulling into sheet one, which is over here, and cell A1. So all I have to do is go click pull data, and it's basically going to pull those components from my sourcing from the model over here. So you can see this is Jan 2025. It's pulling in my revenue components. So I'm just going to double check, expand this 4.4 million, 13 mil, and 5.8 mil, which I have right here. Very good. So that's basically pulling data into an Excel model. So where would this be relevant? So for folks that don't want to use Abacum at all and users, essentially all they have to do is go pull this to get the latest data from the live model within Abacum. Once that latest data is there, they could have like their little modeling section here where they would want to create like their different models and components and so on and so forth. So from here, you can push data back into Abacum from this model itself. That's totally fine. Some folks prefer to have like a different push sheet because it gives you a bit more control on what you want to push as well. So think of a push sheet as basically a table of data that you can push obviously back into Abacum, hence the name push sheet. You don't have to call it a push sheet. You can essentially call it anything you'd want it to be. So right now over here, I've set up like a push sheet basically, which is like a nice tabular view, right? So I've hard coded a number here. You don't have to. You can basically do like a lookup or like just like a quick little reference in here. Let's say I want to reference this, um, actually this component here. So in reality, what you would do is you would set up X lookup or like an index match or something along those lines. So when this updates, this push table also updates as you need to, right? So the 645, we want to push this back into Abacum, this whole component, right? So let's quickly go see what's in Belgium right now. So Jan 2025, ad roll, Belgium, advertising spend. Come back to Abacum. So we have advertising spend opened up right now. We have ad roll opened up as well. Gonna go down there. So we have 10,000 over here, right? So let's see the downstream report that is being triggered off of this model. Let's go in there. Let's go to my Jan component over here. Let's see Jan 2025. Oop, went a bit too far. Lovely. Advertising spend. Perfect. Open this one up. I'm going to open up Belgium and you can see Belgium's 10,000. Obviously, you can expand this a bit further as well if you need to, right? Perfect. Ad rolls 10,000. Very good. So let's come back in here, team. This is 645 right now, right? So come back here, push, and you can see I've configured this as my push sheet, right? So earlier, if you recall, I said this is the sheet I want to pull data from, and this is the sheet I want to push data from back into Abacum. So I'm going to say push data, keep manual inputs, that's fine, and continue. So it tells me the data has been pushed back into Abacum, all well and good. I can either click here and go back to the model. I already had the model open here, so I'm just going to come back, do a quick refresh, right? And you can see that the numbers change up here as well. And if I scroll down to Jan 2025, oop, there we go. Advertising spend, expand this, expand Belgium, and it's 645, right? So you can see, obviously, this is being fed from my model, which is over here, which I'm going to quickly refresh as well. And this is also 645 here. Perfect. So if you think back to the steps team, uh, this is your primary model within Abacum, right? That controls all the downstream like reports and dashboards and things like that, right? So Excel is just another way to basically update these numbers within here. So you can, like I said, go in and manually update the numbers in here, or you can utilize Excel to update the numbers within here as well, right? Then from the pull function, you're basically pulling all the components you saw on the reports and outputs into Excel as well. Lovely. That's just a quick overview of Excel. I'm going to take a pause here, see if there's any questions. Let me pull up the question side of things here.
Got one come in from Greg. I'll leave that one to you.
Perfect.
Happy to take it. Audit trail ability or date timestamp tracking on.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. I was going to share my screen here. Greg. Great question there. Lovely. Can you see my screen, James?
Yes.
Amazing. So yeah, Greg, you can see there's a full audit log of all the changes that have been done and also the user that did the changes as well. There's one from Lucas. Data in certain parts. Indeed, Lucas. Yeah, yeah. So it's a really good question. So team, within Abacum, you can set up two layers of permissions essentially. So we have like data permissions that essentially assign the slice of data a user can have access to. We also have things called application permissions. So applications permissions are basically what part of the system and the user has access to, right? So in this case, within Excel, what we would do is you would set those data permissions up so the user can only pull and push into certain intersections of data.
Nice one. Thanks, Nav.
Can you push,
Well,
pull? Oh, hey, Christian. Great to see you.
mm,
Yes, we most certainly can push and pull into Sheets as well. So for Sheets, we don't have an add-in per se yet, but we have more like a actual connection with the Sheets where you would like because Sheets was more auto-updating rather than Excel. So anything you update on Sheets will automatically sync within Abacum as well.
good to see you in here, Christian.
Yeah.
Should have mentioned that at the start. We already had in place a Google Sheets connector prior to the release of the Excel connector. So now we're serving all slices of the pie.
Connecting to Excel and Abacum requiring major changes. No, Paul. Great question there. So what's really nice about this is we're using the new web add-in, not like an older version of like a .NET add-in that required IT to go install and so on and so forth. Basically, you just go into like the web add-in section and install. It takes like 2 minutes to install Excel and no changes to your current IT infrastructure at all. In some cases, depending on like the company's security policies, IT might need to whitelist it, and that'll take IT like a couple of seconds. And we are an approved add-in on the Microsoft vendor space as well, or add-in space. I can't recall the exact term.
Keep doing.
Uh, Lucas is asking another question. Limitations on the volume of data, frequency. Are there any limitations on the volume of data, frequency of updates within X? Nope, no limitations, Lucas. So this is a really interesting question. So bit of a nuanced thing here. So some of like the Excel-based tools, you either load the data into the system or you use like a specific add-in. Uh, because we don't load the data into a system and do the mapping within a system, we just use Excel to essentially create the mapping there. You have no limitations on like the number of rows. It's limited to how much Excel can handle. So in theory, you could essentially map back and push 100,000 rows and pull 100,000 rows within a couple of seconds. Amazing. Perfect. So also one thing to note, obviously, this is version 1 of our add-in, which is still very powerful, as you can see. Version 2 and a couple of new components are definitely coming down the line. And what's really nice about the I suppose uh what's what I'm looking for here? James, help me out. I'm failing in terms of English right now. Uh, the features and functionality. Thank you. That's coming through is so you'll have more control with like the data, so you can do like filtering and like Abacum interface driven components like dynamic rows, dynamic columns, like things like that, which all the Excel based uh uh FP&A tools have. That'll be within our version 2 and version 3. Uh
Just had
So it's
two.
pushing the data into in a data set or saving the input as manual input within them. Let's push updating data. Ah, yes. Data
So can
session.
you push actuals? So is how I'm understanding that.
Yes. Yeah, Victor, are you inquiring if we can push actuals back into Abacum? I'll take Fernando's question, Victor, until you get back on that one. What is the syntax of the pull formulas? How many sheets can be connected? Uh, yeah, so you can connect as many sheets as you need to, Fernando. So there's no like particular syntax that you need to write. So I don't know if you use like tools like data rails where you might need to like have a formula for the call function. So we use ranges as opposed to like specific formulas that you need to define. Um, don't, Collaborate simultaneously. Can multiple team members collaborate simultaneously in Excel when connected to Abacum? Can multiple team members collaborate simultaneously in Excel when connected to? Yeah, yeah, most certainly. So think of this as like your G Sheets or like your Excel web add-in, right? Or like where you can see like different folks working on this. Actually, we might be able to even show this right now. Uh, I am going to do something here. Bear with me for 2 seconds. James, I'm going to send you a link if you want to just pop into this Excel as well.
Sure.
Let me know when you can see.
Yeah, I'm in there now.
Perfect. Amazing. I was going to share my screen here again, team. Lovely. So you can see James is around here as well, right? What's neat about this is though, because I opened this sheet up and I invited James to this one, it'll basically be predicated by my access components. So you need to be cognizant about making sure that James does not have like limited access when you invite James into this, right? Very good. Yes, so Victor, okay, perfect. Yeah, so yeah, you're exactly right. So we would push back into like the forecast, the budget, scenarios and versions. So you can't override the actuals within the source system. It's a great question because it's essentially when you have the actual scenario. So if you notice, we have the scenario tag as well in the workbook. So you can't override the actual components.
That's one. We're coming up on time. We'll keep an eye on the webinar chat for any more questions. But uh, really good session. Thanks, Nerv.
My pleasure.
And a lot of collaborative or questions being asked, which is great. I will invite anybody that's interested to reach out to myself and Nerv for follow-up sessions. But thanks again for everybody's time today. Um, we'll be happy to continue a conversation, book a demo, whatever that might be, to continue talking about Excel and Abacum and any of the other powerful features that we've talked about, but not gone into too much detail today on. So have a great day, everyone, and hopefully see you again soon.
Thank you, team.